Hello, my name is Joe Doeg, and my project for IMS 452 was the branding and social media planning of Evan Bundy. The problem. Evan Bundy is an aspiring musician who, after separating with his band, is now attempting to launch his own solo career. How does he reestablish himself as a singular entity and build excitement for the launch of his debut EP in a professional manner? My solution that I came up was to create a professional musician persona online that will translate to a real-life reputation. This is done through strategic and professional-looking social media marketing. You can develop excitement for a product or person that no one has ever heard of before, and I believe that I have found a way to do this. First off, who is Evan Bundy? He's a Miami University graduate, a local indie/alt-rock musician. He's a former member of the Old Sports, who are the winner of the 2014 Madison Theater Battle of the Bands, and he is the younger brother of the Bundys, best known for being on The Voice. Starting off to establishing his new persona, we decided to come up with a stage name for him. We settled upon Wolfgang Bundy. Weirdly enough, he has gone by Wolfgang for a large part of his life. It's always been sort of a nickname for him. And then when creating the logo, I had him fill out a questionnaire about artists that he enjoyed and things about their brands that he really liked and inspired him. And through sort of a comparison, I landed upon this sort of handwritten look. The black and white, too, is sort of simplistic, sleek looking, as well as the pairing of the block lettering with cursive. Going on from that, I designed this promotional poster, which is on your right, and this social banner that he's going to put on all of his social medias. When designing this, he was listing some things that he thought were cool looking in nature. A lot of them were space related, so I decided to go with that theme. And then as well as waves, I came up with this cool little wave pattern. So I like this whole sort of beach at night sort of vibe that I have going on here. I carried that over to the EP design, as well as adding a sun, so there's a little bit of a daytime there. The night sky still, as long as the waves carrying over to the back and then over to the CD cover itself. Okay, so the initial target will be the Cincinnati area and friends of friends. That is the quickest way to grow your following, with a special emphasis on college students in Central Ohio, being from Miami University, Dayton, UC, OU, things along those nature. Then from that, I looked at the Indian alt-rock demographics just to confirm what I already suspected. And that sort of led me to the 2024 range. 40% of listeners of an age group listen to indie rock, and so that hits right on the college age student bar. From that, I created 3 buyer personas. The first one is Lily Donovan. She is 19 years old, is a student working towards her undergraduate degree, very active on social media. She's trendy, popular, artistic, outgoing. She tries to find musicians before they're big. This helps her social growth, and it helps her further establish her own brand through association with cool and solid artistic brands. She mainly discovers music through word of mouth, request media, as in Discovery Weekly on Spotify, social medias, etc., along those lines. The second persona was Eric Danberg. He is 29, a graphic designer, got his bachelor degree, somewhat active on social media, although not really up to date with the latest ones. He considers himself a hipster. He's very friendly, localized in the Cincinnati area, very curious and adventurous. His motivations for sort of discovering new music and listening to it would be to support local artists, establish his own good and unique music tastes, and he enjoys being the first to know what is cool around town. His music discovery is also through word of mouth, local cultural publications, sort of small concert venues and bars. He likes to go out a lot, even if he doesn't know who's playing. And then request media, he's a little bit more snobby, so he likes Pitchfork and Complex. Finally, we have John McAvoy. He is 23 years old, is a promotional assistant, a young professional, friend of Evan's. He is considered a tastemaker among his friends. His motivation is to support his friends. This is through Evan. This is how he shares. The reputation of being a tastemaker will help his friends who have no relation to him sort of latch on and listen and take him seriously. He also discovers music through word of mouth, which is really the biggest one. Request media like Discovery Weekly and the pre-made public playlists on Spotify and Apple Music. So I identified some influencers in the area that could potentially help further his career. Obviously, this is the list of the Cincinnati rock radio stations. They would be great to credit. They play local artists occasionally. The two biggest things there are going to be Cincinnati City Beat and Cincinnati Magazine. Both of these are cultural publications about Cincinnati, about the city, about its artists, about its culture. And they also feature monthly profiles on local artists and musicians, and that would be huge to get him in one of those. From there, there's the college town live music venues. These are incredibly important to sort of attempt to get booked in, something along those lines. This would be like an OPA, Kafenia, something along that. And then finally, we have the Bundys themselves. They're going to be probably the biggest and easiest to get a hold of. A retweet from them or just out to their following would be incredibly helpful. From there, I went on to my specific social media plans. This one is for Facebook. The objective there is to provide basic information to fans and legitimize status as a professional musician or as someone taking their musical career seriously, because that is really the main point. If you don't take yourself seriously, then no one else is going to take you seriously. The frequency of this is going to be only 1 to 2 times a week, particularly around album release or shows, something along those lines. Our target demographic isn't really on Facebook, so the focus isn't going to mainly be on there. However, we're going to use it sort of as the bare bones sort of for announcements and creating events and RSVPs along those lines, reaching out to fans. Instagram, this is where sort of the artistic portion comes into mind. You are going to want to use this to establish yourself as more of a professional musician, increase your word of mouth, increase your awareness. Post 2 to 3 times a week with daily Instagram stories. Those are incredibly important, sort of helping fans stay up to date with what he's doing behind the scenes. This you can utilize polls, questions along those lines to sort of help them feel engaged and feel a part of the process. Twitter is going to be what he would mainly be running. This is where he sort of showcases his personality and showcases his other interests and thoughts along those lines. This is also going to be really easy for fan engagement because of the whole like and retweet feature, as well as how simplistic and casual it is to just talk to somebody you don't know on Twitter. This will utilize lots of surveys and polls and questions along those lines, have people respond to that. But as I mentioned in my social media plan in the do's and don'ts section, YouTube is going to be the most important of the social medias. It is the world's largest music streaming service. This is where the product goes. This is where we're trying to drive everybody here so that they can see his actual musical content that he creates. The frequency here is going to not be as frequent unless he is releasing things or performing things along those lines. Try to record all performances, try to release some covers, behind the scenes type deals. Stuff like that. He can also use this to showcase his personality. But this is really where we're going to prioritize YouTube and try to drive people to YouTube. Finally, I came up with the 2 promotional plans. The first one I like to call the slow release, and you can find more detailed versions of these in the social media plan PDF that I've attached. The slow release is the one that I'm most excited about. That is where over a 7-day span, we're going to slowly release bits and pieces of the album. First of all, is we're going to release the promotional poster and just sort of tell the release date of the album just to get the first sort of fish out there. And then the second day, we're going to release the album cover as well as the name. And then days 3 through 6 will be 20-second snippets of songs and sort of a short story or fact about the song, as writing process, everything along those lines, with day 7 finally being the release of the EP. Then the promo plan 2, like I call the inspiration plan, that is where he shares each and every day an artist that inspires him and has influenced his music in some way or another, and then leads sort of a link to their Spotify page or just a playlist or something along those lines, with day 6 being the Bundys. That'll be big because it'll sort of add association, fresh on people's mind right before the release on day 7. Finally, my conclusion. This is a professional marketing plan done on an amateur budget. And then this is also just the first step. Musician branding is a never-ending process. Just look at Miley Cyrus, Justin Bieber, etc. However, it is incredibly important to start off solidly and build a solid base. And I believe that I have done that for Evan, and we can now focus on building him up even further. That is all of my project. Thank you very much.